She was born Gladys May Edwards on October 14, 1927, in Athens, Alabama, to Lummy and Lily Edwards. Baby Gladys had two older brothers, Jesse and Walter, and two older sisters, Vera and Louise. When she was just 14 months old, her precious daddy died of pneumonia at the age of 37. Losing a daddy she had never really known haunted her for the rest of her life. Everyone pulled together to support the young family after their father died. Gladys remembered working in the cotton fields from an early age. With the 40s came more and more changes. Gladys and her mama moved to Nashville so they could get jobs and be closer to the rest of the family. They moved into a duplex house. Home from the war, Gladys's brother Walter started dating their neighbor, Ruby Odum. When Ruby's brother Jim came home from the war, he stopped off to spend the night before going out to the family farm. Ruby introduced him to Walter's sister, Gladys. After meeting Gladys, Jim decided to stay in Nashville, and he and Gladys spent the summer falling in love. On November 1st of 1946, they were married. Gladys settled into a life as a married woman in an apartment in Nashville. In 1947, Linda Carroll was born. She was their baby doll, and they loved playing with her. 5 years later, in 1952, Wanda Fay came along. She was a cute little thing. They were thrilled when James Winton Odum Jr. was born 4 years later. Jim was so happy he hugged the doctor. With their family complete, they settled into their little brick house on Hesse Lane. The number one priority in Gladys' life was her family, all of her family, her mother, her brothers, her sisters. She was very close to Jim's family and loved them like her own. She loved her two sons-in-law, Charlie and Jerry, and her daughter-in-law, Sharon. Gladys excitedly welcomed her first grandchild, Linda and Charlie's daughter, Dawn, in 1971. Wanda and Jerry's daughters, Carla and Kelly, were granddaughters 2 and 3. Jim and Sharon had Christy and Mindy, and the 5-0 Mafia was complete. Gladys was very proud of her 5 beautiful granddaughters. Jim retired from the masonry business, and Gladys worked part-time as the custodian at the church. They built their dream house, Hickory Hill Ranch. The great-grands started arriving. First, Dawn and Jason had Emery, then Ellison. Carla and Todd gave Gladys her first great-grandson, Turner, and then Carson. They were all precious to her. Gladys loved God and His Word. She started attending Hermitage Church of God, now the Grace Place, in the early 1950s, where she taught Midler kids, sang alto in the choir, and sang duets with Louise Ricketts. During all this time, she took classes and was a nurse's aide at Clover Bottom, and even completed her GED when she was in her 50s. Life revolved around the kitchen, and even Jim started helping her cook. Gladys loved to have fun, and she was fun to be around. She had a wonderful sense of humor and laughed often. Jim and Gladys loved to camp and traveled all over the United States, Canada, and Mexico. They went on several mission trips, including one to Honduras, which inspired their children to go there in 2011. Of course, no story is complete without the family pet. Saber was loved by all and was Gladys' faithful companion for many years. Jim and Gladys had a full and happy 58-year love story that ended in 2003 when Jim passed away of cancer and left Gladys alone. Not long after Jim passed away, Gladys started having difficulty with common tasks. Something other than Parkinson's disease made living at home alone impossible. The long years of living somewhere other than home began. Gladys lived in some very nice places with wonderful caregivers, but she was losing her battle with Lewy body dementia. She slowly slipped away from the ones she loved so much. One thing she never lost was her smile. It remained as beautiful as the day she and Jim met. The long goodbye is over. See you next time, Mama.